Question 1. Is everything related to slavery? Yes, and thanks for asking. No group in America has had as poor a start as the first Africans. You'll argue that other groups had to suffer indignities and even slavery, but I immediately remind you that they migrated. In other words, came by choice. Africans were wrenched, even if purchased, from their homeland, brutalized, and forced to work for free. The only way God-fearing settlers could justify the inhumane treatment of Africans was by recognizing them as three-fifths beings in need of salvation. And of course, there were the heavily relied upon economic benefits. As a result of that history, blacks, once emancipated, have had to contend with the legacy of being thought inferior and inhuman for over 300 years. Now, given that kind of history, we're all supposed to have simply gotten over generations of conditioning without really ever acknowledging what took place. Black people are made to feel ridiculous when we refer to the residual psychological effects, and you're not supposed to feel anything because it had nothing to do with you personally. This approach is not working for either of us. Yes, I'm aware that many white people were indentured in America. You didn't know? Read How the Irish Became White by Noel Ignatieff. Were those your or your friend's ancestors? Are you able to tell by looking at them? Are there any vestiges of that enslavement operative today? Alternatively, you assume that the ancestors of every black person were slaves. To many, whether consciously or not, our skin color is an indication of our roots, pun intended, and consequent status in society. So yes, everything is related to slavery, if only as an ugly, distant relation. That is my book answer. So that's a really popular question, obviously, and even now with Django Unchained out, we kind of have this fascination, morbid fascination with slavery, but without ever really talking about it. By the way, I did write a blog about my thoughts about Django Unchained, which you can see at yourblackfriend.com. But anyway, yeah, I think it's a very odd thing to just have hanging over us as a society. And I'm not going to get into, at least not right now, what might change things or how we can start to make a difference and in how we relate to each other. But obviously, it has to begin by being honest. You can't have one group of people who are like, hey, we didn't have anything to do with this, and telling other people, you know, get over it, while other people are encouraged to, you know, affirm and remember and never let die their history of abuse in the world. So anyway, that's my answer to this particular question. And like I said, I hope you'll join me next time for Is Everything Attributable to Racism? So thanks for joining me. See you next time.